Our vocabulary of the day for 2.3, like terms, defined as terms that have the same variable. To give you an example, 6x plus 3x. These are like terms. They can be added to give us 9x. Not like terms, or unlike terms, would be something like 6x squared plus 3x. X squared and x are not like terms, so nothing more can be done with these. So we're looking for terms that have the exact same variable. Input we've talked about previously. It is our x value or our domain. Output then becomes our y value or our range. Our goal in 2.3 is to solve two-step equations. We did one step, we're ready to move up, we're moving to two-step. So here's some examples. You can follow along in your book on page 91. We have 5x plus 9 equals 24. We need variables on one side, numbers on the other. To get plus 9 to the other side, we do the inverse operation, which would be to subtract. We're left with 5x here. 24 minus 9 would give us 15. Opposite or inverse of multiplying is to divide. 15 divided by 5 would give us 3. 4y minus 4 equals 16. We've got to get negative 4 over here with its like term, 16. The opposite of negative 4 is plus 4. We end up with 4y here. 16 plus 4 would be 20. Now we're going to do the inverse of multiplying, which is to divide. These cancel here. We're left with y. 20 divided by 4 gives us 5. Here's where it gets a little tricky. Everybody panics because they see the fraction. I'm going to try and convince you by the end of the year not to panic. We have a minus 7 here, not written very neatly, but it is minus 7. So we need to get minus 7 to the other side. So we're going to add 7 to both sides. Negative 1 plus 7 would leave us 6. These cancel. So on this side, I have z divided by 3. The opposite of dividing by 3, the inverse of dividing by 3, is multiplying by 3. So we have 3 times 6 on one side, z over 3 times 3 over 1 on this side. These cancel. 3 times 6 is 18, and we're left with z on this side. So don't panic and don't try to change it to a fraction, to a decimal. Work with the fraction. In this case, we have two like terms on one side of the equation. If they're on the same side of the equal sign, we can simply combine them. 4w and 2w would give me 6w and 24. We're going to divide both sides by 6. This leaves me with w here, and 24 divided by 6 gives me 4. Same thing here. If they're on the same side, like terms on the same side, we can simply combine them. We don't have to do the opposite. We only have to do the opposite when we're going across that equal sign. So 8t minus 3t gives me 5t, 35. The inverse of multiplying is to divide. These cancel. I'm left with t equals 7. Negative 16 equals 5d minus 9d. A strategy you can use if you're struggling is to circle your like items. But when you circle your like items, always include the sign that's with them. So when I look here, and I'm going to highlight these equal sign again, when I look, I have two like items on the same side. If that's the case, I simply combine them. 5d minus 9d would be minus 4d. Divide both sides by negative 4. A negative divided by a negative gives me a positive 16. Negative 16 divided by negative 4 is positive 4. Over here they cancel and I have D. Okay, we practiced this earlier, writing input and output rules or equations. Remember, rule is another word for an equation. So we have here, and this is on page 92 and 93, the output of a function is 5 more than 2 times the input. The output, which is our y, is means equals, 5 more than negative 2 times the input. 5 more than negative 2 times the input. So I'm going to actually rewrite it because we don't like to have two signs here. Negative 2 times the input, 5 more than that would be to add 5. It says find the input when the output is 11. So a lot of keywords in here, so I'm going to try and grab my highlighter real quick. When the output is 11, remember the output is my y value. So I substitute in 11 here, negative 2x plus 5. I need my like terms on the same side here. 11 minus 5 would be 6, negative 2x. Divide by negative 2 on both sides, and we end up with 6 divided by negative 2 would be negative 3 equals x, because those cancel. All right. Look forward to hearing your questions in class.